So now if I actually want to output the value of the speed instance variable to the console, let's see what happens. System.out.println, and then inside the parentheses I refer to the name of my object .speed, okay, and then I put a semicolon at the end of my statement. So now if I run my project, as you can see, this is the value of the speed instance variable of this my dog object, okay. First the value was 70, and then in line 11 we decided to change that value to number 25, and then in line 12 we decided to output that value to the console. So this is our value, okay. But this is not the proper way in order to assign a value to our instance variables, and this is not good, okay. We should actually use a method called setter in order to actually assign values to our instance variables, okay. In that way our codes are more secure, okay. So now let me show you how you can do that. So inside the dog class we need to create some methods, okay. So first of all I want to create a getter method and a setter method for my speed instance variable, okay. After creating our speed instance variable, I just need to type in int. The return type of my method is int, and the name of my method is get speed, okay. And then I put a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then I open and close my method by using these curly braces, okay. So inside this method I can actually return the value of this speed instance variable, okay. So I just need to type in here return speed, okay. So as you can see here, this is our getter method for this instance variable. The return type of this method is int, okay, and the name of this method is get speed, okay, and this method has no arguments, okay. And inside this method I am actually returning the value of this speed instance variable, return speed, okay. And then I can actually create another method which is the setter, okay. So here I can just type in void. The return type of my method is void. This method is going to return nothing, okay. And the name of this method is set speed, okay. And then inside the parentheses I want to specify that this method is going to actually accept an argument, okay. So the data type of my argument is int, okay, and the name of my argument is, for example, value. And then I open and close my method by using these curly braces. And inside this method I can actually refer to the name of my speed instance variable, okay, and then I put an assignment operator here, and then I refer to the value variable here, okay. So as you can see here, I created a getter method, okay. This is our getter method, okay. I created a getter method and a setter method for our speed instance variable, okay. So these two methods are getter and setter methods of our speed instance variable, okay. So this getter method is going to have a return value of type int, okay. And as you can see here, I specified that the return type of this getter method is int, and inside this method I returned the value of the speed instance variable. I actually created this variable and this variable inside the dog class, okay. So because I actually created these variables inside this dog class and not inside any of these methods, okay, I can access these variables from any place in my class, okay. But if I, for example, create a variable inside this setter method, for example, I can actually create a variable int custom variable. For example, this is a variable, okay. I cannot access this variable from this method, okay, custom variable. And if I, for example, want to assign another value to this variable, I cannot do that. Why? Because this variable is created inside this method, okay, and we cannot actually refer to this variable inside this run method. These kinds of variables are local variables, okay. This argument here is also a local variable, okay? Because we can only refer to these variables inside this method, okay? We cannot actually refer to these variables inside another method, okay? For example, this run method, okay? But we can actually access this speed instance variable and this power instance variable from any places inside our class, okay? So as you can see here, I can actually access the value of the power instance variable inside the sleep method, okay? So I can just refer to the name of my power instance variable, and then I can assign another value to this variable. So as you can see here, we are allowed to do that, okay? But here we cannot access this variable that is created inside this set speed method, okay? So these kinds of variables are local variables because they are local, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So now let me actually delete these lines of code here because I wanted to actually explain the concept of local variables, okay? And as you can see here, this is our setter method, okay? The return type of this method is void, and the name of this method is setSpeed, and this method accepts an argument, okay? And then inside this method, we are actually assigning this argument to our speed instance variable, okay? So whenever that we actually call this setter method in our code, we need to actually pass a value to this method, okay? And then inside this method, we are actually assigning the passed value to our speed instance variable, okay? So now I want to actually create a setter and a getter method for our power instance variable. So first I'm going to actually create a getter method. So the return type of my method is int. The name of my method is getPower, okay? And then I put a pair of round brackets after my method name, and then I open and close my method by using an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace, okay? And then inside this method, I need to return the value of the power instance variable. So I just need to type in return power, okay? And then let me actually create a setter method for our power instance variable. So the return type of our method is void, and the name of our method is setPower, okay? And then I put in a pair of round brackets here after my method name, and then I want to specify that this method is going to actually accept arguments, okay? So the data type of my argument is int, and the name of my argument is value, okay? And then I need to open and close my method by using an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace, okay? So inside this method, first I need to refer to the name of my power variable, power, okay? And then I put in an assignment operator here, and then I refer to the name of my argument, value, okay? So whenever that we actually call this method, we need to actually pass a value to this method, and then that value is going to be assigned to this power instance variable, okay? So in this way, we can actually set values to our power instance variable. So you may wonder that how we can actually use these setters and getters methods. So inside the main class, as you can see here, first let me actually comment out these lines of code here, and then we're gonna create another object from this dog class, okay? So first I need to refer to the name of my class, dog, and then I need to give my object a name, my second dog, okay? And then I put in an assignment operator here, and then I use this keyword here, new, and then again I refer to the name of the class, dog, and then I put in a pair of round brackets after my class name, okay? So I need to put in a semicolon at the end of my statement. So as you can see here, we created another object from this dog class, okay? So here I want to actually access the value of the instance variables of my second dog object, okay? So in the past, we actually accessed those instance variables directly, okay, as you can see here. But here, I want to actually access the value of these instance variables by using these getters and setters methods, okay?